All right, good evening and welcome to January 12th, 2023, Library Trustee meeting. We're going to start with correspondence.
Nope.
No correspondence. Okay. We're going to review the meetings of the minutes of the prior meetings for December 8th, 2022. Has everyone had a chance to review them? And any comments or feedback? No. Hearing none. Does someone want to
Move to accept the minutes of December 8th, 2022.
second? All in favor? Great. Any public participation? None in the room and none on the Zoom. We'll move to the treasurer's report.
The trustee gift, I forwarded this just a few minutes ago. The trustee gift account has $475.10. The building fund is $16,508.95. MBLC $13,796.26. And the month ending statement for bar value is $1,432,673.53.
Great. Any questions on the treasurer's report? It is nice to see that building fund number grow from the year-end budget.
And the bar number did not go down by too much.
Always a relief when that's not it's falling out from under us. All right. We need to move to accept the treasurer's report now. Okay, so the front report.
Okay, they did not meet in December, so I got a preview of what is coming. They are planning the bake sale, the Love Your Library bake sale, and other events, and they are thinking of it. So Diane and Jean would like to have it on the 11th, since that's closer to Valentine's Day, even though official Love Your Library Day is the 4th. So they will be discussing that at the meeting. But
So one consideration is, I believe, the search will be used for a joint select board thing meeting on the 4th.
okay,
So I'm not sure which way that we can talk about it.
okay,
Just so they're aware.
I will let them know. Okay. So
Either from increase of fees of new guys or lack of noise, depending where they set up.
okay. Good. And then mini golf is still scheduled for the end of March, beginning of April, but it turns out that's the weekend of the high school musical. So a lot of the NHS volunteers that they would normally get to help would be involved with the musical. So they were going to discuss whether or not they keep it that weekend or try to switch. So that's something they will be discussing. And then a real goal for mini golf would be great. We never really came up with one. I didn't have one, but that was something that was in discussion. And then she said, if we are serving alcohol, that would need approval, I guess, from us. Sarah said Katrina knew what to do.
We will need to go through the TA's office to get instructions for that, I believe. And Park and Rec has used to done it before, so they're.
Yeah.
And I know Wendy talked
Oh, that's true.
at
She did.
length with Alicia about that.
Yeah, I think the board that governs the building has to vote on it, and then it goes to the select board. So you guys would vote. They would.
So we just need to say we approve it, and then it would go to, so that's something we could
We can approve them.
get amended.
So let's, figure out what the pieces are.
And then the last thing, NHS is looking for volunteer opportunities. So she was thinking, and this is Sarah, was thinking of setting up a regular gig in the book sale room because those volunteer wings is there a lot. So one or two of the NHS members wanted to work on that. And if the library has other things to occupy volunteers, NHS would love to know any other ideas. So either let Sarah or Susan Harvey know.
Yeah. Staff have come up with something.
And that is,
Questions about the their next meeting is
next week.
next Wednesday. All right. So moving forward on our agenda to the building updates.
So the final piece of the solar panels is due to arrive hopefully next week. I know it's in New Jersey, so they're hoping to install it next week at some point. Not sure when, but as soon as that's done, they'll get the commissioner here to commission it, and Phil, our architect, will come out, and then we can apply for the final lead and submit that to MBLC for reimbursement.
The other thing related to the solar panels is once they are completely installed and hooked up, we should invite Eldridge's office back to thank him, celebrate him, photo op if they so choose.
Sounds good. And then the other thing was, so there's a condensation pipe in the mechanical room that the drain was filling with water. So we figured out that somehow a piece of concrete either settled in there a long time ago when they were building the library, or somehow broke off. We're not sure, but they were able to drill through it and clear the drain, and so water's flowing through it pretty easily now. So they think it's fixed.
That is George, correct?
That's George. Yeah. So it looks like it took a year for it to fill.
So the whole thing filled over the course of the year.
Right, right, because it was blocked with concrete.
Any damage to worry about?
And so he doesn't anticipate any future issue down.
No, he said he's going to continue to monitor it, but he doesn't think there's an issue.
Thank you, George. Any other building items that we should be aware of?
George also mentioned that the sink in the small sink in the storage room, the water doesn't get hot enough. So he's going to look at it. I tried it and it was fine. So I'm not sure what he was talking about, but.
Okay, my understanding from the HVACs, that whole mechanical issues, there's something, a setting underneath there that can be changed, so.
Okay, I'll tell him.
If you can work with George and figure that out, I think
Sure.
that's, the information on that should be in that big manual that they gave us. All right, any other questions on the building from? Are you getting familiar with the building?
I am, yes. There isn't that many that I've noticed so far, issues aside from what's coming.
We'll have to get you up to date on HVAC setting.
Yeah, Sam sort of went over the general computer aspect of it. So.
Cool, that's great. And make sure you introduce yourself to George.
Yes.
Yeah, they already know.
If you have not already been to.
I have.
Okay. All right, director's report.
All right, so Mike started on the 19th. So he's been doing a great job so far. It's only been 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks.
3
Yeah. So he's done a great job so far. Introduced him to Anthony and Ryan and George. So they've all met him. Jeff Henry was also promoted to library tech on December 19th. And Mike, Julie B, Jennifer, and I interviewed candidates for the last library assistant position, and we offered it to Miriam Ziza, and she currently works part-time at Burlington, so it should be an easy transition for her to come over here. She still works at Burlington, but she'll be working here about 6 hours a week. But they use the same system and a lot of same policies, so she should be okay. And the plan is for her to start next week on the 18th. Catherine, unfortunately, resigned as YA librarian. Her last day will be January 20th. HR posted the position today. So we sent it out to, we put it on the MVLC job site, Simmons, sent it out to MVLC listservs. Diane put it on the listservs for all the young children's librarians and all that good stuff. So hopefully we'll get some good turnout for that. And
When does that close?
so she put it as ongoing on a rolling basis. So, let's see. Mike also created an online survey asking patrons for what type of programming they would like. Do you want to talk about how it's working?
Yeah, sure. So I've sort of been keeping track of it, but I haven't really been, noting everything down, but we have had 105 responses so far. And it seems like the biggest thing that people are looking for are more book and author talks. That and expanded hours.
They give you an idea of like when to expand?
They would like more time on Saturday and Sunday hours seem to be a big thing.
I wonder if I know who.
How many respond?
Yeah, how many Sunday hour requests?
Right, well, so I'm assuming you have a list of lots of ideas.
Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, it's up in the cloud right now. I will probably take what people have written and sort of, synthesize that a little bit more once the survey closes.
Do you know when you're closing?
We're gonna run it through January, so I think, was it the 30th for that close? Yeah.
Well, I mean, 105 responses is great. How are you doing outreach to get that beyond Facebook? And I'm assuming the email.
Yeah, we put it on the email. We put it on our website. We put it on the town website.
Oh, I did see that come through the towns.
Yeah.
Alert, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
What other places? So I feel like we always hit similar people who are watching all those channels though, and maybe are there populations we can reach by expanding that outreach?
You could go through superintendent's office and ask for the principal to put it in their weekly newsletters. Different principals have different formats, and so I know middle school, he has tabs and no one ever looks at all the tabs, but
But if you write a blurb and do a link, it sometimes
doesn't-
ends up on, it sometimes will end up on.
I mean, that's a good way to get it to a lot of parents, potentially get it to a lot of parents.
So I was sending that to Dorothy.
Send
Yeah.
it to Dorothy Malone. It will probably not make it into this Friday's because tomorrow's Friday.
Mhm.
But if you send it by Wednesday next week, usually they can get them in by the next Friday. So there'd be another week, so 10 days before that closed then.
Okay. I've also asked Superintendent Clenchey to put stuff on their Twitter, and he's done that. So that could be
Yeah, that would be awesome as well, because it would be great to reach some of those people who follow that. Is there a way to coordinate or collaborate with EHS to get it to seniors?
Yeah,
I know
sure.
that may not be their way of
I was actually gonna suggest is if we could print out like 100 of them or something like that,
Mhm.
and then maybe bring them over, or have paper ones available at the front desk too. And people could just like, oh, I can fill this out and just put fill it out and somebody can log in too, possibly.
something to consider.
Yeah.
Because not every person will be familiar with using a Google Doc.
Yeah. I don't know if I can sort of print it off, like, so it'll look the same, but I'm sure I can make up the same
The
thing.
question.
Yeah.
What about like, a PowerPoint slide for LCTV? Cause they do slides in between shows and programming and stuff, so if you just create a slide, that could be up there with a link.
And even on our own bulletin board,
Or put a QR.
QR code.
Yeah, oh yeah, right, I could do a QR, it would have to be a QR, because it'd be difficult to do just a hyperlink, because it'd be a lot of, random characters. And
There's a way to shorten them.
even the short ones are,
I mean, you could use Bitly or something to make it shorter.
that's true. Yeah.
The one thing about a QR code on the TV that the people you're reaching who view it on TV won't know what that is.
But if you did have the papers available, you could say pick up a survey.
That's true.
We could also do both.
I think expanding the methods that you're using to reach people might mean you might get different responses from those that are on paper or those who are in certain groups that we're talking about trying to make sure we hit. And then I think also once the library, like the survey hits the principal letters, it gives us permission to post on the PTA pages and those class pages a little more freely, so we can help you cross post on that. Trying to think what other groups are we missing?
What if you just made it like a paper with a QR code and put it at circulation desk in the YA room and the children's room, so parents might see it and,
Checkout stations.
Yeah.
ideas for you to consider and figure out how you want to get the survey to people. That'd be great.
So thank you, Mike, for doing that. Let's see, where was I? I'm working on the budget presentation. The library comes up for the presentation before the select board and the finance committee on January 24th at 6:30. So I'm working on the slides for that. I submitted the updated job descriptions to HR. Michelle and I met yesterday when we went over them. She discussed them with Bill Schmidt, and they had some edits, nothing too big to change about them. They just wanted me to make some little wording changes and things like that. So she sent it back to me. I'm gonna clean it up and then send it back to her, and it should be good. And then Catherine, one of the last projects she's doing and has actually completed is to genreify the YA fiction collection. So she has color coded the books to match certain genres. So like all the sci-fi books are together, all the horror books are together, all the sports books, etc. And the hope is that it will make it more accessible and interesting to teens. So she's put a color key code in the room so that everybody can find it. And so far, it's only been about a week, so we'll see how it goes. Yep. And one last thing is that I was asked to be on the search committee for the facilities manager, so I'll be doing that. And we have interviews for that position next week. So
I'm glad you're doing this. Not only because we have a building here, but I think there's some good in relationship building that's led to that request for you to join. So
Question about the budget presentation.
Yeah.
Is there anything, are we asking for anything special this time? Like, what's the growth of the budget?
So we're asking for additional hours for the processing clerk, ATSCO. I think it's an additional 5 hours. I don't remember what the difference is, but it's not that much. And with all of the changes in staff, everybody's kind of started at a new step, at a lower step.
Yeah.
So we'll probably work out so that it's not that big of an ask. Yeah.
yeah, looking at our budget for the year, salary wise here, we're about halfway through, right?
Yeah.
46% of it.
Okay. Any other questions?
You guys have a chance to look through them. I do appreciate Susan putting her update in. What kind of training has she been doing?
A lot of program likes to go to program things, that sort of stuff.
Or to hear more about specifics as you figure things out. You guys have questions about any of this? Nothing's jumping out at me. We have old business as our fundraising update. So Sarah Ronbacher and I worked together to write that final pledge reminder email that was sent in December. We've been watching it to see who's opened it. And then we actually received a number of checks in. There's around $7,000 of thank yous that I signed last week, which is wonderful. There are like 20 pledges, either families or individuals, where the email was not opened. And that we are planning to follow up with a letter, just as a reminder, because we seem to have lost their contact for whatever reason. So this weekend, I'm going to be reading those emails and we're going to send those out. So our request is that any donations were in by the end of January. So we can,
How much is that standing?
I want to say like 9,000. And some of these, and some of them are on automatic payments, so I have to remember who's coming, like the outstanding, but some are still, I guarantee we'll get it, we'll just go a little longer. And then some, like we have a couple people who are deceased and we're not sure if we're gonna get the balance or not, and that's understandable, but in total, we raised, I think it was like 1.2 million, we're missing less than 10,000, so.
Yeah.
At this point, and I can see some of the names on that where the email wasn't opened are people who have paid other years, so it's, I think we just, our emails aren't getting to them, so I'm assuming that we'll get letters from them. Which is, so that is the last step for fundraising. Building. All right. And new business. New business. Any new business? We had no new business to list, so we will moving forward to other business. Which it may not be new, but other means that it used to be. The other business is, it's not, it might have been discussed before, but other meaning that it just is we are aware of it, but didn't hit the agenda in time. So any other covering? Okay. Let's just move right into trustee update. So Kimberly, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't have anything specific, just that Chris and Sarah and I are working on the reconsideration policy and Sam's working on the procedures. And we're just really kind of taking our time, so we know it's an important one. And so we'll be meeting at the end of the month, trying to get something to present at the first week in February.
Looking forward to seeing thoughts.
So my friend formed a nonprofit and they produce puberty books for boys and girls in like lots of different third world countries, and they also made a copy for the US. And so I reached out to Catherine and Diane and asked if they'd like a copy, and they do. So I just ordered those from Amazon. So those will be joining our, being put in circulation here. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
I really have one thing now. Related updates. I am also going to feel comfortable passing. I don't have anything that's particularly good.
I think we all were at a retreat and therefore we are done. I actually, I mean, other than this, just tracking things, like attending the HVAC training in December, it's been a quiet month, which has been
Nice.
really nice. So, we don't need to keep going with more. All right, so dates coming up to be aware of are the, as Sam mentioned, that budget meeting on the 24th. If you need feedback, please reach out. Looking forward to seeing your presentation. I plan to attend, so hopefully I can make it. And any other things that we should be aware of before we adjourn?
That I can think of.
So that we have reached the end of our meeting.
To adjourn. And second.
Who do you want to claim that one? All right.
That's my head.
All right, all in favor, say aye. All right, our next meeting is February 9th.